Top 10 Interesting Facts About Japan. Are you looking for facts about Japan? Then you've come to the right place. I love Japan. It's a fascinating country with a unique culture and society that you really can't compare to other countries in the world. And here, I've made a list of 10 interesting facts about Japan, and further down in the article, you can also read some general Japan facts. To make this article even more fun, I challenge you to test your knowledge about Japan. How many of these facts about Japan do you already know? Leave a comment below with your results. Hi guys, how are you doing? I hope all are doing good. My name is John. Welcome back RS channel. Before begin to start to take a look at video request to subscribe our RS channel and don't forget to hit bell button get an immediate notification. Let's begin. 10. Sumo wrestling originated in Japan. A full contact wrestling technique called sumo was founded in Japan. Here, the wrestler called rikishi tries to force the opponent out of the ring or make him touch the ground with any body part except for the soles of the feet. The history of the sport spans centuries and has several ritualistic elements. It is often treated as Japanese martial art. Those practicing this sport are required to follow strict traditions and live in communal sumo training stables called haya. Sumo had become a nuisance due to wild fighting on the streets, particularly in Edo. Sumo was temporarily banned in the city during the Edo period. In 1684, sumo was permitted to be held for charity events on the property of Shinto shrines, as was common in Kyoto and Osaka. The first sanctioned tournament took place in the Tomioka Hachiman Shrine at this time. An official sumo organization was developed, consisting of professional wrestlers at the disposal of the Edo administration. Many elements date from this period, such as the dohyō-iri, the haya system, the gyuji, and the mawashi. The 18th century brought forth several notable wrestlers such as Raiden Tameemon, Onogawaki Sapporo, and Tanikaze Kajinosuke, the first historical yokozuna. 9. There's a bizarre naked festival. Japan is well known for its non-stop festivals, but Hadaka Matsuri must be one of the most bizarre. Thousands of Japanese men strip naked in public to secure a fortune-filled year, with the biggest Matsuri taking place in Okayama, where an estimated 9,000 men get down to their fundoshi. The festival called Hadaka Matsuri, or more commonly known as Naked Festival, is a Japanese festival where participants wear only a minimum amount of clothing, usually just a loincloth or a happy. On February 15, at 10 p.m. in Sedaiji Kannon Temple in Okayama Prefecture, men scrambled in the dark for lucky wooden talismans tossed into the crowd, in a ritual that dates back 5 centuries. According to Reuters, the 2 sticks, seen as lucky talismans, are thrown among 100 bundles of twigs and if caught, are meant to bring the catcher good fortune. This year, most men escaped with just a few cuts and bruises from the 30-minute tussle. In the past, some have even been crushed to death, reports Reuters. Once a year, at the coldest time in February, we wrap ourselves in just a loincloth to be a man, said 55-year-old Yasuhiko Tokuyama, the president of a regional electronics firm. That's the significance of this event and why I continue to participate. The participants run around the temple grounds and purify themselves with the freezing cold water before heading towards the main temple. The festival began nearly 500 years ago during the Muromachi period. It evolved from a ritual, where villagers competed to grab paper talismans given out at the Sedaiji temple. 8. Japan is highly prone to natural disasters. Japan is prone to pretty much every type of natural disaster. Earthquakes, tsunamis, and typhoons are the big ones, but flooding and landslides are also not uncommon. Even erupting volcanoes aren't out of the question. Let's look more in depth at each of the natural disasters and see what they are and how often they affect Japan. Japan experiences over 1,500 earthquakes per year. Most of those will be hard to even notice. Some will cause a brief shaking sensation and up to a dozen or so each year will be rated 6.0 plus on the Richter scale. In 2011, Japan suffered a massive 9.1 magnitude earthquake that rocked the Tohoku region in northern Japan. The epicenter occurred about 40 miles off the coast with the initial quake lasting 6 minutes. For context, the 2011 Tohoku earthquake was the 4th largest earthquake ever recorded and subsequently the costliest monetarily at $235 billion worth of property damage. Fortunately, it was not proportionally deadly. However, there were still around 15,000 deaths from the earthquake, aftershocks, and tsunami that followed. While 15,000 deaths are a lot, it's not the largest in the world or even Japanese history. The deadliest Japanese earthquake was the Great Kanto earthquake of 1923, which killed around 105,000 people. This quake measured in at 7.9 magnitude, but due to the location of the quake, as well as the antiquated buildings compared to the more earthquake-resistant ones in the 2011 quake, the death toll was much higher. 7. Square watermelons make an expensive gift in Japan. In Japan they have square watermelons, which are as expensive as 10,000 yen or about $82, compared that to the regular round watermelons that cost about $15 to $20. In Japan, farmers grow square watermelons which sell at insane prices ranging from $100 in the country to as high as $860 abroad. These watermelons are grown in boxes that force them to grow square-shaped. It is easier to transport, cut, and store these fruits. They are often used as expensive gifts in Japan. The Japanese farmers grow normal watermelons in transparent square boxes made of glass. The fruit then grows into square shape naturally. When they become ripe, these cuboid watermelons are hand-picked and sold all over Japan and also shipped to other countries. 6. Highest number of vending machines in the world. One of the things you will notice when traveling to Japan is the huge amount of vending machines. They're literally everywhere, around every corner, and they're definitely part of the modern Japanese culture. A lot of restaurants have started to implement vending machines as well, to let people order food. But they are also a good and convenient way for the companies to sell beverages and make money without paying staff. In the big cities, you can find both hot and cold coffee in the vending machines along with various other types of drinks, including water on a bottle. There are also plenty of vending machines selling snacks and food directly in the cities. 5. To clean is a part of the education in many schools. Law and order is a big thing in Japan. I'm not talking about the TV series, and it's important to learn this already as a child. That's why a lot of Japanese schools are making their students clean toilets, classrooms, and the school area. This also saves money because the schools won't need as many cleaners. Imagine if this was the case in your country. I can only speak for Swedish schools, but it would be an outcry, to say the least. That's why I think this is one of the more interesting facts about Japan. 4. Japan has a penis festival. This Japanese festival is known as Kanamori Matsuri, which means something like, the festival for the phallus of steel. The festival is celebrated in the Japanese city of Kawasaki on the first Sunday in April. In short, just about everything, including candy, vegetables and decorations have the shape of the male reproductive organ or other things related to fertility. The festival started in 1969. Today, it has become something of a tourist attraction and is used to raise money for HIV research. 3. More than 3,000 McDonald's restaurants. Only the USA has more McDonald's restaurants in the world than Japan. Despite that, it's very rare to see obese people when walking around the cities. The teriyaki burger is one of the unique items that can be ordered from the menu in Japanese McDonald's restaurants. 2. Japan's economy currently ranks third worldwide. The nominal gross domestic product of Japan is $4.73 trillion. Its GDP per capita is $38,893. Japan is an exporting giant. Japan's economy depends mainly on exports which count for more than $640 billion. Cars export amount to nearly $100 billion, while vehicles spare parts amount to $30 billion. A slow economic growth. Despite the strength of the Japanese economy, it is characterized by a slow growth marked with an average of 10% in the 60s to an average of 4% in the 80s. Japan's economy has been stable for most years in the third millennium, but the country witnessed recession 4 times in 2008. Nuclear energy. Until 2011, Japan relied on nuclear energy to produce nearly 30% of the country's needs for electricity. However, the Fukushima nuclear disaster led the government to order the shutdown of all nuclear reactors. The current government has decided to relaunch these reactors with strict safety conditions. 2 reactors were launched in 2015. Oil importation. Due to the closure of the nuclear reactors, Japan's dependence on imported oil raised dramatically, bringing the annual volume of imports to 3.4 million barrels per day, third of which come from Saudi Arabia. ABENOMICS. ABENOMICS is the name given to the economic reforms launched by the current Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. These reforms aim to increase the gross domestic product by 20% or 600 trillion yen by the year of 2020. 1. 2020 Summer Olympics. Tokyo was selected as the host city during the 125th IOC Session in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on September 7, 2013. Originally scheduled to take place from July 24 to August 9, 2020, the event was postponed to 2021 in March 2020 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, the first such instance in the history of the Olympic Games. Previous games had been cancelled but not rescheduled. The games were the most expensive ever, with total spending of over $20 billion. The Summer Paralympics were held between August 24 and September 5, 2021, 16 days after the completion of the Olympics. The 2020 Games were the fourth Olympic Games to be held in Japan, following the 1964 Summer Olympics, Tokyo, 1972 Winter Olympics, Sapporo, and 1998 Winter Olympics, Nagano. Tokyo became the first city in Asia to hold the Summer Games twice. The 2020 Games were the second of three consecutive Olympics to be held in East Asia, following the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea, and preceding the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, China. Due to the one-year postponement, Tokyo 2020 was the only Olympic Games to have been held in an odd-numbered year and the first Summer Olympics since the 1900 Games to be held in a non-leap year. New events were introduced in existing sports for 2020, including 3x3 basketball, freestyle BMX, and mixed-gender team events in a number of existing sports, as well as the return of Madison cycling for men and an introduction of the same event for women. New IOC policies also allowed the host organizing committee to add new sports to the Olympic program for just one Games. The disciplines added by the Japanese Olympic Committee were baseball and softball, karate, sport climbing, surfing and skateboarding, the last four of which made their Olympic debuts, and the last three of which will remain on the Olympic program. In February 2012, it was announced that Tokyo's former national stadium, the central venue for the 1964 Summer Olympics, would undergo a 100 billion yen renovation for the 2019 Rugby World Cup and the 2020 Summer Olympics. In November 2012. Alright guys, I hope you guys are enjoy this video. Like this more interesting video, request to like this video and make sure don't forget to subscribe our RS channel and hit a bell button to get an immediate notification guy. Thanks for watching.